Welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to look at the following WWE news and rumors. Roman Reigns given credit for WWE Superstar's recent transformation. Becky Lynch reacts to artwork created in her father's memory. Seth Rollins takes a dig at Edge. On WWE Raw this week, Alexa Bliss tells us who Lilly is. Randy Orton assaults Riddle on WWE Raw, and more. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more wrestling content. Seth Rollins aimed a dig at Edge on the latest episode of WWE SmackDown's post-show Talking Smack. The majority of Rollins' segment revolved around his WrestleMania 37 rematch against Cesaro on next week's WWE SmackDown. The former Shield member also spoke to Talking Smack co-host Paul Heyman about Roman Reigns' recent victories over Daniel Bryan and Edge. When Heyman mentioned Edge's name, Rollins laughed and questioned where the Rated R superstar has been since WrestleMania 37. What I think he's hiding out on some mountain somewhere in North Carolina, petting his dogs or something like that. Laughs, Rollins said. Seth Rollins lost against Cesaro on the first night of WrestleMania 37. The second night ended with Roman Reigns retaining his WWE Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan and Edge. Roman Reigns defended his WWE Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan again on the latest episode of WWE SmackDown. The result means Bryan has now been banished from the show. Rollins, who used to work alongside Reigns in the Shield, congratulated the Tribal Chief on his victory. "I want to say congratulations to you, Paul Heyman. Congratulations to the Tribal Chief, an incredible main event on SmackDown last night," he said. "I was on the edge of my seat. And the outcome, chef's kiss, as they say, very, very thrilling." Seth Rollins also apologized to Paul Heyman after Cesaro tried to prevent Roman Reigns from attacking Daniel Bryan following their match. The two-time WWE Universal Champion went on to accuse Cesaro of looking past him and focusing too much of his attention on Reigns. Paul Heyman believes Roman Reigns deserves credit for Apollo Crews' recent change in fortunes in WWE. Reigns offered some words of advice to Crews during a backstage segment on the January 15, 2021 episode of WWE SmackDown. Since then, Crews has turned heel and embraced his Nigerian roots. He also defeated Big E for the WWE Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 37. Heyman, Reigns' on-screen special counsel, hosts the WWE SmackDown post-show Talking Smack with Kayla Braxton. Speaking on this week's episode, he praised Reigns for inspiring Crews. "I take no credit, ladies and gentlemen, zero," Heyman said. "I deserve no credit for the greatness and the success of Apollo Crews. That credit belongs to our Tribal Chief, the man that after all these years was the champion to put down the Yes Movement, Roman Reigns." As Paul Heyman alluded to, Roman Reigns retained his WWE Universal Championship against Daniel Bryan on the latest episode of WWE SmackDown. As a result of the victory, Bryan has been banished from the show. Apollo Crews retained his WWE Intercontinental Championship against Big E on this week's WWE SmackDown due to interference from Commander Aziz. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn got involved after the match, which suggests they could also target Crews' title in the near future. With three people seemingly chasing his title, Crews says he now understands the position that Roman Reigns is in as WWE Universal Champion. "You know what? I understand now," he said. "I understand how Roman Reigns feels. I know what it is like now to be in that position. I understand it very well now. When you're there and everybody wants to get to you when you have gold, and everybody wants that gold, I understand just what it is like to be in that position that Roman Reigns is in. You know what I'm going to keep doing? You know what I am going to do? I'm going to do, just like our Tribal Chief. I'm going to win. I'm going to keep winning. I'm going to beat everybody that steps in my way." While Apollo Crews' most notable victories have come against Big E, Roman Reigns has defeated several opponents during his WWE Universal Championship reign. The Tribal Chief has retained his title against Braun Strowman, Daniel Bryan, Edge, Jey and Kevin Owens. Becky Lynch had a heartfelt reaction to an incredible artwork featuring her late father on Instagram. Becky Lynch's father passed away back in March and the man posted an emotional message on her official Instagram handle in his memory. The pro wrestling world sent its condolences to the former women's champion for her loss. Becky Lynch was incredibly close to her father, and he supported her through thick and thin throughout her career as a wrestler. She couldn't control her emotions when a fan named Abdul Malik posted an impressive artwork in her father's memory. The artist is well known for creating wrestler artworks, and you can head over to his Instagram handle to view more of his work. Becky Lynch shared a heartfelt message thanking him for the artwork. Here's what Lynch said. This is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm a bit lost for words. Becky Lynch will go down in WWE history as one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. She was one of the first 3 women to headline WrestleMania and won the historic match to become a double women's champ. Lynch spoke about how her father never judged her and was always supportive of her. I used to always go to him with the most trivial of problems or concerns because I knew he would never judge. In my weird teenage years, he never batted an eyelid. She's just being herself, he'd say, and would let me get back to my strange clothes and dog collar chokers, said Lynch. Becky Lynch is currently on hiatus, and there's no concrete news regarding the timing of her return. WWE President Nick Khan has confirmed that Lynch will return somewhere down the line. Ronda is going to be coming back at a certain point in time. Becky Lynch, she just had her first baby, she will be coming back at a certain point in time in the not-too-distant future, said Nick Khan. What do you think of the artwork? Let us know in the comments. After SmackDown knocked the ball out of the park, it's WWE Raw's turn. Unfortunately, it's an hour longer than its 2-hour Friday night cousin, and the job of the creative team is significantly more difficult when it comes to keeping the viewer engaged. But the extra hour also means the possibility of more surprises, which is why one or more of the twists mentioned in this video could happen. And if they do, WWE Raw could certainly become a lot more interesting. If you have a moment, sound off in the comments section and let us know what you think of the surprises listed. Also, if you have your own fantasy booker hat on, what did you think of WWE Raw? Number 5, Randy Orton assaults Riddle on WWE Raw and brings RK Bro to an unfortunate, untimely end. The alliance between Riddle and Randy Orton is great. That said, we know that the Viper hunts alone, which is why we could see him deliver an RKO to his partner on this week's edition of WWE Raw, stunning the WWE Universe. Yes, this alliance could be short-lived, but the feud that emerges from it may go on for a while. Randy Orton has done it all in the pro wrestling business, and it is time for him to prepare the next generation of talent to step up to the plate and hit a home run. Yes, an alliance with Riddle would have been a step forward in this regard, but a feud with him is 2 steps forward. This feud could extend all the way to Money in the Bank, and a new star could be born as a result. So expect the unexpected on WWE Raw, because nobody ever sees an RKO coming. Number 4. On WWE Raw this week, Alexa Bliss tells us who Lilly is. Alexa Bliss may make a big announcement on WWE Raw this week. The mysterious and terrifying doll, Lilly, who we've seen terrify one and all in weeks past, may be none other than Nikki Cross. If you saw Cross when she was on NXT, you know that she was just as suited as Bliss for the persona that she's currently portraying. Nikki Cross was known as the Twisted Sister of NXT, which is a persona that she may adopt in the coming weeks too. It's a shame that someone as talented as Nikki Cross is a part of the WWE Raw roster and not used to her fullest potential on the brand. Is this an attempt to reform the Bliss and Cross tag team unit and give it a more supernatural twist? Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler seem absolutely bulletproof right now, but can even they take down the charismatic and terrifying duo of Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss? Number 3. Sheamus issues his open challenge on WWE Raw, which Daniel Bryan answers. Could Daniel Bryan show up on WWE Raw this week? After losing to Roman Reigns, we know that he will no longer be a part of the SmackDown brand, meaning that there's every possibility that he could elevate the United States Championship picture on this week's WWE Raw episode. Even though Sheamus vs. Daniel Bryan is likely to be a clash of styles, both men have history and moreover, they are both seasoned veterans who will make it work. With all due respect to Humberto Carrillo, who is a fantastic talent, the inclusion of Bryan in the United States Championship picture is likely to elevate it to the next level. So maybe Sheamus could stride out on WWE Raw and announce that anyone from the Red brand can step up and try to pry his title away from him. Following this, the familiar theme song we know and love so much is heard, and the Thunderdome erupts with the utmost joy. Number 2, Nia Jax destroys Reginald on WWE Raw and then walks off with Angel Garza. Nia Jax has 2 people on WWE Raw vying for her attention. One of them is Reginald, while the other is the man with dozens of roses to hand out, Angel Garza. Could Jax decide this week that Reginald does not match up to Garza and take him down? The entire point of sports entertainment is to build the stage for compelling fights, and on this week's episode of WWE Raw, we could see the attack set the foundation for an intergender clash. Maybe Nia Jax and Reginald could mix it up at WrestleMania Backlash. WWE is averse to the idea of intergender wrestling, but Impact Wrestling and Lucha Underground have been doing it for years. It may also allow Reginald to slowly move on to other feuds and programs, including a feud with WWE Raw Superstar R-Truth and Tozawa over the 24/7 Championship. It's a shame that Angel Garza isn't being used in a more compelling storyline though. Number 1. The Viking Raiders confront the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. Despite Omos and AJ Styles winning big at WrestleMania, the duo has been off television for some time now. It may finally be time for the WWE Raw Tag Team Champions to return in a big way right before WrestleMania Backlash. Do not assume for a moment that they will not be in the crosshairs of the WWE Raw Tag Team division. With so many teams gunning for the gold, however, if one had to make an educated guess regarding which team would step up to AJ Styles and Omos first, most people would put their hard-earned money on the Viking Raiders. The team has been portrayed as dominant thus far, and for them to clash with yet another dominant team in AJ Styles and Omos would be awesome.